What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of James Unedited, where I'm James, this video's unedited, and we're just turning on cameras and we're just talking. Today, we're going to talk about what it is, how do you get to a flow state, kind of like how to make it easier to go into the flow state. Like, you can't force it, clearly, obviously. I mean, that's why it's flow. The idea is that there's two ways you can do it. I feel like two main strategies. There's one, either you conforming to the environment or designing the environment to your aims. So let's start with the first one, you conforming to the environment, right? It's kind of like this. Um, if you know that there's, like, say, your computer setup, or if you know that when you wake up, for instance, I'm trying to think of the word for it. When you wake up and you leave your phone in the other room. Hold on, let me get this together. The best way to put it is that if your environment is set up in a certain way, sometimes it's better to just flow with the environment. Like, if there's things in your environment you can't change. For instance, you're like boss. Like, if you know your boss is an asshole and he hates a certain thing, if you want to continue to flow in your job, right, you pretty much just do the thing he needs. Something like that, right? But on a more abstract level, like across all different things, pretty much if you know your environment is set up the way it's set up, you go with the grain, not against it, pretty much. Like, what most people do, especially in like the hustle culture, is they like to go against the grain and just push it for honor's sake. And I'm like, but for what? You're just making everything more fucking hard. The other side is that conforming your environment to yourself. Now, that's where I was trying to go with the computer metaphor and how I have everything set up. I kind of jumped ahead of myself. But the idea is this, is that if you set up your living space, if you set up your office, or you set up whatever space environment you have control over to flow with what you want, you kind of like fall into it. Like, for instance, if you were to see the entire room, there's a webcam and I'm too lazy to get up right now. But if you were to like see the entire room, like just take a look, it's like production ready on all levels. I got the chords there. I got keyboard there. What was it? I got my computer screens all set up in this kind of one space. And that's pretty much half the living room. The other half of the living room, I got a drafting table over there. There's like a futon here. And then there's my books there. But yeah, I'm gonna stop being lazy. Pretty much, if you look at this entire room, ignore the trash. I just got a bunch of boxes that I gotta throw away. But pretty much, if you look at the entire room, it's basically production ready, minus the drafting table, because I, again, have been recently, what's that word for? Rearranging things, okay? Don't judge my clip. But the main idea is that if I ever wanted to sit down and create stuff, it's already there in arm's length. I can, like, it's literally feet away. And so if you have control over designing your space, I gotta get my webcam repositioned. So if you have control over your space, try to make it to where everything is at arm's length, or at least is in a what's that word for? Convenient spot for you based on your scenario. I can't give specifics because I don't know everyone's scenario, and also I'm kind of weird, so my shit, like, my advice would probably like fuck up your entire life anyway because I'm just random and weird. But the idea is this, basically. If you can design your space to flow, do that. If you can't, try to change a little bit of your behaviors and habits based on the current environment reality you're in, and then transition into a better flowing one. Basically, it's like this. It's not about being in the flow state. It's about cultivating the flow state, almost like a garden. You know what I'm saying? Fertilize the soil and the thing will grow. All right, I hope that made sense. That one was a little bit harder for me to do, to be honest. But hey, you should subscribe. I mean, why not? Just see a random dude talk at a camera. I thought that's what YouTube was about. So subscribe, hit that like button, hit the bell. You know, I heard every time you hit the bell, you make a child happy. Yeah.